I would like to say every step in our life that we are taking is generating a lot of data. Be it your daily life, be it your economic life, be it your something related to banking. IMF is also dealing with big data in order to take, decisions of economic in nature. For them, it's very important. Big data is playing a big role in order to resolve agriculture issues. Big data is playing a great role in order to resolve climate related issues. At times, you will not get all the time real time data because there are number of transactions which are processed on batches, right? So you have to look behind what was kept at that time when data was collected. So this is some of the basic requirement in order to clarify, in order to decide your research area. You should choose the topic of your research where you have interest, you have strength, right? You're already well versed with some, let's say, knowledge.
Welcome to the DATASWEEP podcast, teacher. Uh,
Thank you so much for inviting me.
you're welcome. Today we have Professor Kiran Su as our guest. She has written over 100 scientific articles and attended numerous international conferences where she has presented her research. Professor Kiran Sood is particularly interested in product portfolio performance in the general insurance industry. She profoundly understands insurance, accounting, banking, finance, financial statement analysis, and related fields. She holds a postdoctoral degree in insurance from USAC University and has also been an affiliated professor at Malta University. Welcome again. And my very first question to you is related to your passion for research. How did it start?
Okay. Thank you for giving me opportunity to answer this question. What basically sparked my research, passion towards research? As you have already mentioned while introducing me, that I have done my PhD in the field of product portfolio insurance, particularly in non-life insurance. Then
Mhm.
I moved on doing my postdoc also in the field of ESG, and that is also an insurance industry. And as I'm also an affiliate professor, that's also in the field of insurance. So yes, I don't know from where I inspired about doing my research, but yes, since from the beginning I always wanted to do something in the field of insurance, be it a life insurance or be it a non-life insurance. So with the help of some experts or some researchers, I just came to know about product portfolio because I was not clear about in the beginning what basically product portfolio means in the field of insurance. So I just came to know that specifically in the field of insurance, we divide insurance in two categories, life and non-life. And then under non-life, there are a lot of segments, let's say fire, marine, and then I've noticed some of the segments, particularly the motor insurance, that caught my attention. I have seen that how it is expanding, why the premiums coming from this particular sector is very comparatively very high. So and then I've looked at the data. I remember that I collected data almost for 10 years in pre-liberalization and then post-liberalization period, and that really caught my attention why the premiums were very high. So I noticed that some of the factors, they were, that was highlighted, but that was not the only reason I was looking for. But now with the pace of technology, how we can do wonders, because traditional methods, they were just focusing on, let's say, the age or the geographical area, the life of the car, or these were some of the factors normally being considered in order to price insurance plan, particularly in the field of motor insurance. But now, with the help of data, or you can say telematics, things are more inclined towards, let's say, real time data collection. So, with the help of real time data collection, you can study, or you can, evaluate, assess the individual behavior in terms of driving. And then you can make the customized plan based on your, driving skills. And then accordingly, you will be charged. So, in this case, I have seen that things can be possible where customization comes into existence, and then nobody will be overburdened or underburdened. So in this direction, and then I started developing my research in the field of insurance. So, and then I moved on to health insurance also. So all these things can be applicable to all the segments of the insurance, be it motor insurance. And then after some times, when COVID came to our lives, I have seen that the health insurance, which was not earlier so much in the market, people now started giving importance. And during COVID, when there was a social distancing, when there was a lockdown, it was the technology that somewhere helped us to sail and to buy the insurance, be it blockchain or that AI came into our life. So means every transaction, every step that we were taking in our lives was generating a lot of data. So there was a huge potential of data coming in our lives by taking personal or other decisions. So this way I developed more my passion about doing research in the field of, you can say, not just in insurance, BFSI sector. So that's
Mhm.
it.
Because we talk about the research, I'm curious, what part of the research process takes the most of your time?
Based on my personal experiences, I've seen, let's say, I think that is again a question which is that where you will find the answers are varying from case to case. But yes, when I started doing my research, I was very much clear that I wanted to do my research in the area of insurance. But yes, let's say once you are clear about your area of research, the next phase of your research life that normally comes where you take a lot of time and you put in a lot of efforts, that is something related to data collection. And now if something related to data collection comes to your life, so then you have to see whether the type of research you are doing, is it primary data oriented research, or let's say be it a secondary data oriented research. You have to see the topic requirement, what type of data you are looking for. Something related to, let's say if you are something related to regulations aspect, then accordingly. And when, let's say, when you collect the data, the other things which comes to your mind: data cleaning, all the data issues, data integrity, data ethics, and the sources of data, where from where you can have free accessibility, open access data. And I would like to give you one example over here. I have seen a friend of mine doing research in the field of agriculture. uh, Agriculture in India is not developed still. Yeah, it's I would say it's underdeveloped. So if you are doing research, particularly in the field of agriculture, there are a lot of challenges. First of all, the illiteracy rate of the farmers. It is very difficult to interact with them and communicate with them, right? And then yes, the lack of technology, right? So this is the another issue, right? And above all, getting real time data is possible, let's say, in other areas. But if somebody is looking for real time data in order to resolve agriculture issues, particularly let's say in India or maybe in other countries, if I'm not wrong, so that's comparatively a bit difficult. So in that case, yes, it's challenging. It's not, I would not generalize my this approach challenging everywhere, but yes, sector to sector you have to put a lot of hurdles, or you have to face some extra efforts, and then accordingly you'll get you just come through slowly and steadily with all these issues. So yes, it's really time consuming. You have to put in your resources, your extra effort, your time, right, and little bit money also if in case you require to access the data.
And what was the toughest part of processing data for your latest research?
Related to processing of data, there was one of my article where I did some research on, let's say, you can say, bad loans. We call them non-performing assets. And I hope this is a problem in most of the countries. And if I say particularly in India, yes, we are facing a lot of issues related with non-performing assets because of traditional banking, where something related to processing of loan, everything goes Offline, we do have started adopting online way of, uh, credit appraisals. We go for credit appraisals, but still it is very difficult to streamline this entire process. So here you need a lot of data, right? Data in terms of the credit history of the customers, right? And then accordingly you face a lot of issues. So I have seen that you will because something related to financials, you will find it very difficult to have to fetch the data which is something related to financials. People are not people will definitely say no to share these financials. So in these cases you have to rely on some sources from where you can get the data, something related to financials. So I really faced a lot of issues. But yes, above all, you can visit websites, some you can say, some trustworthy resources, some government websites where there's a possibility you can get the data. And something related to processing of data, there are financial modeling tools. Let's say R is there, so you can apply those standard tools which are particularly meant for analyzing, executing financial tools. So we do have certain kinds of tool where you should go.
And how do you usually collect your data and what formats do you prefer? And I'm curious, do you have any favorite data provider or that depends by your use
Uh,
case?
let's say, since you're talking about data providers, I would just like to give you example here. We're talking about data. I've seen that Amazon is also looking for data. Now, the reason behind, because they want to see the purchasing patterns, right? So that's really
Yeah.
important for them. Similarly, Walmart is doing and juggling with the data because they are looking for their supply. They want to manage their supply issues, right? And then similarly, we have seen the role of blockchain in executing smart contracts. So that is the another way from where we can get the data. Something related to banking, where I have seen that we need data based on credit worthiness. Let's say in India, we normally go for CIBIL score. CIBIL score is a score that tells us about your credit worthiness. And if you're really looking for that scores, we have some organizations. Normally, their task is to evaluate your CIBIL, your credit worthiness scores. I would like to name some organizations here.
Yeah, sure.
These are basically credit bureaus, right?
Mhm.
Equifax is an organization who basically works on calculating your credit worthiness score. Similarly, we have one more, TransUnion, and we have Experian. So these are the three credit bureaus, and their task is to assess, evaluate, calculate your credit worthiness. Apart from that, we have McKinsey company that provide a lot of data, right? Something related to insurance, we have IRDA website. If you go to the website, you will find large amount of data which is available in open access. So we have data sources where you can, something related to monetary aspect, then yes, IMF is there. So a lot of data resources are there. You have to choose and pick as per your requirements.
Mhm. And how do data quality and accessibility impact research in the economic and the financial fields?
Data quality is really, really important, because as I've already said that when you deal with the data, you come across a lot of issues, lot of issue in terms of data integrity, missing values, something related to formatting issues. Let's say in the field of banking, you may miss some values. In the field of insurance, something related, let's say in the field of insurance, I have seen there are a lot of stakeholders are involved. And something related to selling of insurance, there are sellers available. Sellers may include brokers, sellers may include agents. Everybody has own style of selling. So when they are selling and sending the data to you, then you will find, you will find a lot of mistakes in that. applicable of these issues in the area of you can say agriculture. As I've already said that the financial there are aspects something related to financial burdens are there, the issues related to illiteracy is there. So in that case it is very difficult to fetch data from farmers. And let's say if you are communicating with them, then there are issues related to language barriers, right? And moving on further to collecting data from smart contracts, we do have blockchain technology where large number of transactions are taking place through bitcoins. But the problem is to at times you will not get all the time real time data, because there are number of transactions which are processed on batches, right? So if you want to give real time solutions, right, let's say for example if you really want to provide a solution to an accidental case, so in that case you will be able to provide that solution if you have that all that infrastructure of telematics, so that you can give a reminder on or it is connected through IoT, right?
Mhm.
So your infrastructure should be there so that you can give real time data, and then you can, yes, automatically provide solutions to your real time problems. So these are the issues,
Mhm,
right?
mhm. And what common mistakes do you see in the data process? And maybe you have some recommendation regarding how we can avoid it.
Yes, when we collect data, let's say I would like to give you an example here. While collecting data, we come across sometimes,
Mhm,
outliers in the data. So basically, we have been told while collecting data, there's a possibility that that will definitely include outliers. Now, outliers can be in various forms. If I talk about stock prices, then definitely you will look at the price which is very extremely a low price, and similarly something like which is very extremely higher price. So you have to look at the presence of outlier, and yes, outlier is something which you have to include, because if you are including those outliers and then processing them, calculating them, and then definitely it will take you to wrong interpretation, and that's the problem. So yes, you should exclude those outliers. And some, yes, another issue, something related to data formatting, right? Data formatting, because when we collect data from different resources, so there is a possibility that the one resource from where you are getting data, that they have processed the data keeping into mind some different definitions.
mhm,
I would like to give you an example here. You are collecting data something related to sales or turnover. So, and for that, you have taken as a sample of, let's say, two companies or maybe two, three companies. So, in some of cases, you may find that one company is defining gross sales and the other company is taking into consideration net sales. So that rule which is applicable to defining sales of a company is totally different as compared to other company. So in this case, if you are collecting data from from both these companies, and then automatically the interpretation will go wrong. Similarly, I can give you one more example. Let's say when you process loans, right? In order to process loans, there are a lot of phases and there are a lot of steps. One of these step which is very important, which normally banks keeps into consideration, they calculate certain ratios. So let's say if somebody is focusing on debt equity ratio, somebody is focusing on loan to cost ratio, and somebody is focusing on loan to value ratio. But the aspects which they are including while calculating these ratios are not uniform in nature, or they are not standard. So definitely it will bring fault results, and then there is a problem related to that false data issues will come into, and then there will be problems in analyzing. You may find difficulty in interpreting at that stage. Same is applicable to KYC norms, right? In some countries the KYC norms are different, and then let's say you are considering authentic proofs in order to fulfill KYC norms as compared to other countries. So regulations related to KYC of India country, regulations related to KYC of other country. So there is a difference in opinion. So here you need to standardize to bring all those norms of different countries at a same platform so that you will get accuracy in the results. So you may get data, but at time the data collection, when data collected already, so you have to look behind what was kept at that time when data was collected. So
Mhm.
this
And
is.
I'm curious, what is your view on the big data trends in business and in the economy?
So this question is something like you have asked me the big data trends in
Yeah.
economy and finance. I would like to say every step in our life that we are taking is generating a lot of data. Be it your daily life, be it your economic life, be it your something related to banking. So every move, every step you are taking, that generating a lot of data. And I was mentioning you when I was saying that Amazon is working on your buying patterns. We people are using Facebook, we people are using LinkedIn. How many times we visit, they look at that. Let's say when we are working on Facebook, when we are they are also looking if we are placing orders online, be it during weekends. Okay, if it is weekends, what hours you are placing orders, be it online. Let's say it's in during odd hours, what you are ordering, what is the size of your order. So same is applicable to your, let's say if something related to IMF is also dealing with big data in order to take, decisions of economic in nature. For them it's very important. Big data is playing a big role in order to resolve agriculture issues. Big data is playing a great role in order to resolve climate related issues. One of the biggest issue which was very much highlighted specifically in the era of COVID times, that is risk management. We have seen, we have faced a lot of natural calamities. We have been facing, but yes, from last few years, we have seen everything is not taking place in their normal schedule, be it winters, right, or anything else. So for that, we need data, right? In order to predict, we need data. Our pattern of buying, let's say agriculture is one of the important sector which is very much impacted by climate. And climate, is something which is highly difficult to predict. You can just forecast. So we need a lot of data so that we can resolve our problems, which are global problems. Global problem of water scarcity. I hope we all know that the scarcity of water levels, the sea
Yeah.
levels are rising. Problem of food security, right? I was reading an article a few days ago where I have seen that, where the focus was being given on urban farming, right?
Mhm.
Agriculture farming is there, urban farming. So urban farming, because we know that the land size, the capacity, size of the land is limited. So we are moving towards vertical farming. So we have to farm in our houses also in order to overcome this problem of food security. So we need data in order to solve our problems, be it medical, be it life insurance, be it finance. So every problem, something related to foreign direct investment, that is something which is really important. If I mention foreign direct investment, then how much funds are coming to India? Let's say there are two countries investing in India. One currency is coming in the form of US dollar, other currency coming in the form of euros. So we have to bring both the currency at a standard level so that we can find out what exactly we are getting in, an Indian currency.
Now let's return to the study field. What would you recommend to your students, your postgraduate and undergraduate students? Should they use data in their thesis or should just rely on qualitative research?
Uh, Since you have asked me that students should go for qualitative research or
Quantitative research.
quantitative research, I would like to answer another way. You should choose the topic of your research where you have interest.
Mm-hmm.
Second thing, you have strength, right? You're already well versed with some, let's say, knowledge, maybe the regulatory aspect or some basic concepts. You have already read about it, so many things. You know the recent trend. So yes, the knowledge, that's, I call it strength, interest. And the third thing, which is very important while choosing your research area, is where you have make your plans for career.
Mm-hmm.
So a combination of interest, strength, and career goals. So blend after permutation and that
Yeah.
combination, you can decide, okay, this will be my topic of research. You never know, after completing and doing your research, you may move on to other area in order to, you can say, have a, have hands-on training in other area. Let's say if I have done my research in insurance, I can move on to data analytics later on, so that I can mix blend data analytics and insurance and all together. So this is some of the basic requirement in order to clarify, in order to decide your research area. Yes. And above all, okay, one thing this is there, after that you need to study the research gap. That is very important. For that you have to study the review of late literature. So review of literature may it can be highlighted conceptually, it can be highlighted geographically, it can be highlighted, you can say, regulatory. So there are different aspects of studying review of literature, and then accordingly you can decide your research work. And when you go for your research topic simultaneously, which is very much important nowadays because we are talking about data, so it's not only the interest, the strength, and the career goals. We should also look at the data availability options, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes we change our topic just because we know that we will face difficulty in the future at the time of data collection. So availability of data collection is the main concern. I have seen many students have changed, deviated little bit, or they diversify, related diversification or unrelated diversification, they bring that in the research, looking at, because I've seen many times student go and inquire, let me see the datas are available. Okay, if datas are available, I may choose a topic which is not of my interest. So data is, because we all about talking about data, so data availability sometimes changes your mind, and then accordingly you can also choose a topic which is of your interest or maybe not of your interest.
I have one last question for you. Now,
Yes.
let's come back to young researchers. What advice would give you to a young researcher struggling with data?
Young researchers, you mean to say those who are doing PhD research
Yeah,
or like
yeah, precisely.
PhD research? Even for PhD research, I think my answer is almost will be the same.
Mm-hmm.
That's the interest and all that. Apart from that, I would like to add on the ethical concerns
Mm-hmm.
while collecting data, the regulatory aspects, that is very
Mm-hmm.
important while collecting data. And what else I would say here, let's say, then let's say you will also look at the data sources which are available. You can also look at, it's not only the sources, you may also look at the availability of the softwares, whether I am proficient in those softwares. Let's say data sources are there, but you know that simultaneously you are not well versed with the skills of analyzing and
Yeah.
executing data. So that's the another concern. You may not well versed with all the skills. Sometimes you are good in one, so at times you are dependent for the other skill, but yes, you may look for your some friends
Mm-hmm.
help. So it's a blend of you while taking such decisions, because when we do research, I've seen, I hope you would have also noticed that many of times We do researches on individual basis. Sometimes it's a group effort. So we
Yeah, I know.
definitely look at the availability of the softwares, right? And yes, the real time data. Now, in order to resolve the problems, real time problems, we are running after so much of real time data. And availability of getting real time data is, that's really a big
Mhm.
problem. And right, and the power of, you know we need to take advantage of uh, data, to leverage data in order to resolve the problems. When I was talking to you, let's say I would like to give you one example related to insurance. Now, insurance is something which is all based on risk,
Mhm.
and the definition of risk has been totally changed now, specifically or majorly after COVID. We have seen the involvement of catastrophic risk in insurance, where the actuaries are facing a lot of issues, and they are, all of them, they are, using data. And gone were the days when we were, totally dependent on tables, right? Mortality
Yeah,
tables that were normally being considered. But now I would not say they are redundant, but yes, most of those tables are redundant. We cannot use them, or we can apply them to a particular, to a limited extent. We want customization, we want, because behaviors, now our satisfaction levels are changes. We want more features in our plans, be it any plan, be it any service. So for that, yes, a lot of data requirement is there. But when data is there, which is huge data is come, the problem related to structure and unstructured data that comes into the picture. And it is very difficult at time to make a differentiation between structure and unstructured data. One example I would like to add on here, we are talking about data in banking. I've seen the concept. I've seen the concept of fungibility and non-fungibility. That is very much there. So fungibility and data, how these are related to each other. Fungibility is a practice where you can see, where you can exchange the assets, or where you can find the substitute, and then you can easy, let's say, if I would like to give the example of fungibility, then money is the prime asset of fungibility. Now if I say money is the prime asset for the fungibility, so money is lot of taking place in exchange. Every transaction that is happening, that's on the basis of money. But it's not only the money, we do have other assets which can be exchanged, right? So if money is exchanging, it means a lot of data is coming in circulation in the form of money. And related to fungibility, tokenization coming into the picture. Tokenization is nothing, it's just to give a digital form to your asset. And when you have that advantage of getting digitalization of your asset, so it will be easy for you to exchange any asset. Exchange, or exchange means you can buy or sell any asset which you have never ever thought earlier. So it's because of blockchain technology. All this is happening with the presence of blockchain technology,
mhm.
and tokenization is the another aspect that is taking place across the world, that is very much in demand. You can, tokenization basically focuses on selling your assets in fractions, right?
Yeah,
And if you are able to sell your assets in fractions, which earlier were not possible because things were taking place in physical form. But now, if things were moving online, it's very easy. Let's
yeah,
say if there is a double story building, you want to sell a certain portion of that building. So, with the presence of tokenization, you can execute that function, and at last it will generate data. So you were asking me the young researchers. So if these things are happening, I would like to relate how come this is relevant for young researchers. These are the things which never happened in our
mhm.
life. So many problems are coming, laws are coming,
Yeah,
regulations are coming. So you got the opportunity to work on these problems. There was no blockchain technology in our lives. So if now blockchain technology has entered to our life, no doubt when technology comes to our life, it comes with pros and cons.
yeah,
So if there is a problem, then you will definitely find a solution to that problem. For that, you need to do research. So
indeed.
IoT is another example. Lot of devices are connecting with internet. So lot of solutions are coming, but simultaneously
Yeah,
with each and every solution there's a problem is coming and data is coming. So you have to be ready which problem you want to solve, and accordingly you want to give solution for. I would just like to close with this by saying there's ample scope of doing research, because we are living in this world which is full of problems at our personal life, problem at personal life, at world level. The only thing you need to choose and decide where you feel comfortable looking at various
yeah,
aspects to do the research. Above all, one more thing, if you would like to do research which definitely solve the problem of society, or maybe at world level something related with poverty, something related with depleting natural resources, that really a good thing, because that is something you are working towards a noble cause towards the nation.
yeah. Thank you
Thank you.
for your answer. It was amazing. And I hope to see you again next time physically at university. Thank you for accepting my invitation.